Parts of Louisiana are bracing for the fifth major storm this hurricane season. Zeta is churning in the Gulf after drenching Mexico. It's the 27th named storm this season and could make landfall sometime on Wednesday. For more on this, I want to bring in CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Berardelli. Hi there, Jeff. So what is the latest on Zeta and where do you expect it to go next?
All right, so Zeta has weakened because it moved over the Yucatan Peninsula. You can see it moving over this land area right here, but now it's emerging over the Gulf. And look at that. Big blow-up of storms right around the center. It's getting itself reorganized. We expect it to re-strengthen to a hurricane and probably do so for at least a 12 to 18-hour window where it can do so before it makes landfall later tomorrow and tomorrow night along the Louisiana coastline. Now, the storm's going to be making its way northwest, then turning northeast, and it looks like ground zero for this system is going to be the southeastern part of Louisiana, but will also impact probably pretty strong impacts here along the coast of Mississippi and also to around Alabama as well. Making landfall again later in the afternoon, early evening hours just to the south of New Orleans and then maybe moving right overhead of New Orleans. Here's a look at the future radar, and I'm going to overlay the wind gusts on top of it as well. So as the system approaches the coast, now this model may be slightly overdone. It's calling for a wind gust of 125 in Grand Isle, but it's not out of the question that if we have a storm that's an 85, 90 mile an hour storm, then we may see wind gusts over 100 miles an hour. Even in New Orleans, wind gusts close to 80 miles an hour as the storm begins to move through. And, east of the storm is the stronger part. Biloxi, wind gusts, not out of the question. Could see 100 mile an hour wind gusts. And Mobile, some hurricane force wind gusts as well as the system moves to the north. One of the other hazards, again, it feels like deja vu because this system is hitting an area that's been hit so many times this year. And once again, storm surge is a problem and a concern for us. The highest storm surge is going to be around Waveland. Biloxi, 5 to 8 feet is possible there. Even New Orleans, this is not a very, very strong storm, and the levees should hold. But if there are any weaknesses, we would have to worry about flooding in the city of New Orleans. So take this one seriously as the storm continues to move towards the north.
Well, Jeff, there's still a month left in this year's hurricane season. Could we see even more hurricanes?
Believe it or not, it is possible. I mean, it's hard to believe that this late in the season, we're talking about yet another landfalling hurricane. Well, would you believe all the computer models now are showing that as we head towards the 7 to 9 day period from here, so another week and 1 or 2 days, it looks like another system is going to form in the very southern part of the Caribbean. It's not for certain, but you can't rule anything out in 2020, can you?
No, absolutely not. So, Jeff, how much of this can you attribute to climate change?
Well, the season itself, has been very, very active. So, it's conceivable that climate change did impact the season. I mean, climate change affects everything, right? Because water temperatures have gone up around 2 degrees Fahrenheit in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this particular storm right now, we see storms every once in a while this late in October, so that's not unusual. But what is unusual is the whole Atlantic Ocean is yellow or orange. Those are above normal water temperatures. You really have to squint your eyes to find any below normal water temperatures. So this is just going with the territory. Water temperatures across the Atlantic have warmed partially due to natural reasons. We have fluctuations or oscillations, but mostly due to climate change. And because of that, at least partly we're seeing storms that get stronger and also the potential for more systems. So we've had 27 named systems and the average is 12. We get one more, we tie the record from 2005. So the bottom line is this. In order for a hurricane to form, you need water temperatures of 80 degrees. If, let's say, 30, 40 years ago, the water temperatures were 78, well, now, because of global warming, water temperatures are now at that threshold, and they pass that threshold more often and in more geographical places. So, yeah, climate change probably does factor into what we're seeing this year.
Jeff, I also want to ask you about Texas and Oklahoma, where there is a massive ice storm. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so this is quite the juxtaposition. So take a look at this. First of all, let's look at the radar. And you can see there's some ice, there's some snow. It's been a really treacherous day. Some places have seen over an inch of accumulation of ice. But take a look at this. While we have the hurricane warnings here across the Gulf Coast, at the same time, a few hundred miles away, ice storm warnings, winter storm warnings, snow and ice falling. It is a strange time, the end of October, to have both of these happening at the same time. Look at all this cold air. So what's happening is the cold air is undercutting, moving to the south, and the moisture is moving up from the Gulf of Mexico to the north, and they're colliding, and so we have this big ice storm that's breaking out in parts of Texas and Oklahoma, we're going to continue to see surges of ice, freezing rain, sleet, snow in the panhandle of Texas, especially north of Lubbock. Oklahoma City east is more rain. Oklahoma City west is more ice. But this has been debilitating. There have been a couple of 100,000 folks without power. I've seen pictures from that area and video from that area. It's been a disastrous system for October. I mean, think about that. We're still about a month and a half away from winter starting officially.
Yeah, no, really treacherous, and some of those images on social media as well, just underscoring how dangerous that ice is, people trying to drive and get around. All right, Jeff Berardelli, a lot to keep track of. Jeff, thank you very much.
You're welcome.